MK, and I am back with another Mixed Media Mayhem recipe for you guys. And today we are working with circles, buttons or brads, string, thread, or ribbon. I am also playing along with Scrapping Reflections, who is State Goddess here on YouTube, and her Follow a Sketch February. Now, I'm not going to be playing with every day, but this is the sketch that I am planning on playing with today, and it is by Jana Eubanks for Basic Gray. Back in the day. All right, so I'm just showing you guys where I picked up my title from. I also have a few twines and things, fibers, whatnot, to be playing with. I haven't picked out which one I want yet. For my brads, I think I'm going to use this set of 3 butterflies. Now, I made these cards a long time ago, so I'm not entirely sure where those even came from. I also, for my circle bits, I picked out a ton of circles. I don't know which ones I'm going to be using yet, but I've got some flair from Dottie About Flair, and then a few punched out circles from the Not Just for Boys Club, and then a mixed media circle that I used about 2 years ago. Also, I am playing along with the 49 & Market Spectrum Sherbert collection. And so these are the elements that I have picked out from that collection. I really wanted this dark tag for some reason, but I don't end up using it. I just really wanted to pull it out. Also, thank you to a subscriber who sent me these little bags of goodies. So I picked out these little metal tags because they're circular. Also, I'm going to be using this mix that she made just for me. This one is called Mud. I absolutely love that, and thank you, Debbie, for sending those to me. I just have a series of photos. My husband and I were driving to Wyoming, and we reached this tunnel. I've never taken photos of us going through a tunnel, so it's just something fun and silly that I wanted to scrapbook about. So I also have this dark wood grain panel that is from a Stampin' Up! Collection that I know is no longer available. And then the 2 papers from 49 & Market that I picked out was this one here from the Classics collection called Blue Moon. I'm going to use the collage side of this paper. And then also, too, this piece of paper, which is going to be used as my base piece, which I think I have it upside down because that's the branding strip, I think. Yes, I do. And this one's from the Painted Foundations paper, and this one's called Patchwork. So I'm going to get started on how I want my papers, but the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the branding strips, and then I'm going to work on my photos. Now, clearly, I cannot put... I think I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos. I'm not going to be able to put 6 4x6 photos on these layouts or on this one 12x12 layout. So I'm going to roughly trim them down to 3x4s and then figure out exactly how much space. Now, I wasn't sure if I wanted my wood grain to be in the background or to be in the foreground, and I decided I want it to be within the frame that this 49 & Market paper makes. So it makes a frame with all of the off pieces, and so I'm going to cut my wood grain paper down to fit inside that frame, but then I have to figure out how small to cut my photos down so they fit inside the wood grain. Now, I don't have as many photos. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's 7 photos in the sketch, and I only have 6. So I'm actually going to take the title portion of the sketch and move it up to where the 7th photo is supposed to be. And then also my photos are larger, so I won't have that big of a gap at the bottom. So I'm kind of compensating in some places and rearranging the sketch to suit my photos for me, right? So I do have the 3 panels. Now I cut my wood grain into thirds because that's what the sketch looks like. It looks like it's 3 sections for each photo. So I am going to go ahead and scuff those up using an edge distresser. I have to tell you guys that I left this part in so you guys could see something that I am using that might possibly be coming to the shop soon. When I create a new tool or item that I think is going to be useful, I do enjoy using it first to see if its functionality will work before just saying, hey, I created something new, here you go, and nobody likes it. So I test it out on myself. I also test it out on a few friends and get their feedback. And it's trying to see whether or not, it needs improving or anything like that. 9 times out of 10, the first go around never is perfect. So anyways, just thought I'd share that with you guys. So after I scuffed everything up, then that will give me the gap that I need. That is what is represented in the sketch. So right underneath every single photo, you see a line, which I'm assuming is supposed to represent the maybe the twine or the or the ribbon that we are supposed to be using. But mine is going to be represented by the rip in the paper. And then I'm going to take my collage paper and cut it up to where I just get a collage of tickets or passes or anything like that that represents travel, basically. So I'm just going to ignore all of the seed packets and butterflies and all that other stuff flying through the collage and only pick up what helps me tell my story. So I really felt like the background of this sketch needed a little bit more for myself. And these tickets are going to do that for me. And I'll show you here in a few minutes as soon as I'm done fussy cutting. I just really wanted to leave this in so you guys could see exactly where all of these pieces of paper came from, actually, because I could have definitely pulled them from the die cut pack, but in all honesty, this paper did the layering for me. So I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna take what I need and run with it. I'm gonna scuff up the edges again as well, so that way my imperfect cutting, fussy cutting, will be covered up. Plus, it also, this tiny little bit of scuffing really does add dimension without bulk to a layout, and so that is definitely something that I enjoy doing when I don't really want a completely bulky layout. Now this layout does end up getting a little bit of bulk to it because I add, foam adhesive and things like that. But, and ribbon. Ribbon always adds bulk to a layout. I picked out 2 ribbons. I just wasn't sure which one I would want in between my photos or my strips of photos. And so I picked out 2 that I knew I would have liked to see on this layout. And I do end up going with the thinner ribbon. Now this ribbon is a sampling of my favorite ribbon. It can be found in the shop if you guys are curious. And it is just a small sampling. It is just 12 inches each of the favorite ribbon that I enjoy playing with and putting on certain types of layouts. So again, they do add a little bit of bulk. So if that is not your jam, I completely understand. And instead of having the ribbon go all the way across, I'm only going to have it go in certain sections because I wanted I wanted the rip in the paper to be seen. And I wasn't sure if I wanted the ribbon to go above or below the rip or on top of the rip. At the end, it does end up going on top of the rip because I do have, I want my, these clusters of tickets and things to be a part of my layout too. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want my tickets and where they're going to best be seen and what part of it do I want to be seen on my layout. So that is, that's just what I'm doing. Before I commit to anything, I always move my papers around and give them a try. Normally, how I have them the very first time is what I end up sticking with, but I always do like to see the options, what was available with the pieces that I had before fully committing, because I don't like the what if scenario. What if I would have liked it here better? What if I would have liked it there better? Well, if I test it first before adding adhesive, then I get to answer all those what ifs. And it only cost me a little bit of time. That's it. So I'm good going there. And then I do end up liking it. And I'm going to tuck some of my photos underneath the tickets, some of the photos above the tickets, and things like that. Just again to help me incorporate everything. And instead of having that very last photo down at the bottom be centered under the two photos, I should say 3 photos, but I wanted it centered on the middle photo and left photo. I had it go over a little bit because I think I needed more room for my title, is why I ended up putting that there. And I'm just going to use my ruler because I can't really see the edge of that brown or of the wood grain paper. So I'm just going to use the edge of my ruler to help me make sure my photos are straight. I'm not too worried about them being in the center of the wood grain because I know I'm going to have a lot of elements that, again, will help add to the story and it not add to the story, but add to the layout. And it'll definitely help fill in those gaps and whatnot. So I'm not too worried about everything being completely centered in the wood grain. Now I do use score tape to hold any type of ribbon down. I like using the score tape because it's an instant stick and I know it's a strong hold. So it won't be going away. I used to use glue dots and just put it on every other, like every inch or 2 inches or so. But over time, I noticed that if the ribbon shifted, then I get a wavy ribbon instead of a straight across ribbon. And it was definitely before I discovered score tape. Liquid glue, I've never had the patience to hold ribbon down with liquid glue. It just, I know people use blocks of acrylic blocks and things like that, but before I even owned an acrylic block, I just don't have the patience for ribbon to hold ribbon down with liquid glue. Just never did. So I'm glad that I've discovered score tape because that is an instant stick for me. All right, automatically I'm not going to use the flare because they're just too big. They stick out and become the star of the show, and everybody knows the star of the show are your photos. So I am definitely going to not use the flare this go around. So I'm going to stick with the not just for boys little cutout circles. Now these are circles from their no waste packaging, and I have a bunch of them, and I absolutely love adding them to my layouts. I absolutely don't mind having them. I'm also going to use that leftover chipboard mixed media embellishment that I created about 2 years ago. I had one left over from the layout that I actually used. I also pulled my butterfly brads off to make sure that I do add the brads because that's one of the requirements for mixed media. Also, I pulled out those little round discs that were gifted to me, and on 2 of those gifts, they had little engraved or punched in hearts, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is absolutely perfect. It was a cute little discovery because I thought they were just plain discs. So I was happy about that, even though they are hearts. It would have been better if they were stars, but it's okay. I actually have been embracing the hearts a lot. Okay, so for my brads, I don't want to poke holes in my layout. I just don't. So I'm going to twist and turn until I can get the prongs off of the brads, and then I have to use 2 layers of these foam dots to make sure that I do have enough stick because these are very domed brads. But when I go to do the other 2 brads, I won't show this again because it's a rinse and repeat, and I do go off camera slightly. The same with adding the ribbon or the twine to these little tags. It takes me quite a while to fish the little twine in the hole. And I just don't think that you need to see it 3 times. So I do fast forward the other 2, but I left the one in just so you guys could see what it was that I am doing. Plus it was the only one that actually stayed in focus, if I'm being honest. I absolutely love the little arrows and the outline circles. Now the circles were probably supposed to be thrown away because they were the gap between the arrow and the circle saying that were in the die cut pack for the 49 and Market collection. But I embraced the little circles. I really like circles, honestly. And so I definitely did want to add them because that, again, is part of the recipe that I am supposed to include on my mixed media. I do end up adding a ton of circles in different elements on this layout, and I like it. Plus the tunnels are, a sphere of some sort, a half a circle or an arch. So that definitely helps too with adding the circles. On the sketch, well, at least I thought it was on the sketch. I could have sworn there was a tiny little tag on the sketch where I just put the, I can't even see what it says anymore, but I put a label and another word saying down there, and I thought that was part of the sketch. So that's why I put it there. And now I'm seeing that it's not. She has a lot of room for journaling, and clearly I have no room for journaling because there's really not much to say except for when we go through a tunnel, right before you get it, you hold your breath and you hold your breath until you reach the end of the tunnel. Well, the problem is that in our car we giggle because nobody can stop talking that long, even though it's a quarter mile or less of a tunnel. We can't stop talking to each other or to ourselves or anything. And so there's no way that we could hold our breath, but I thought it was kind of cool. And then of course I named it Hold Your Breath. Let's go. And every time we start out strong, but we can't get halfway through the tunnel without somebody having to say something. And this trip here was just me and my husband, and we started holding our breath, and then we both giggled at the same time, knowing that by now one of the kids would have said something. And it just made us giggle to where we couldn't even hold our breaths by ourselves because we were thinking the exact same thing. So anyways, that's the only reason why I wanted to document this, because it makes me giggle, knowing that, we can't even do it that long. I'm sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and add my mud. I absolutely love the name of this sequence pack, you guys. It made me smile. Again, thank you, Debbie, for sending this to me. She created these mixes all by herself with me in mind. And I absolutely loved that. I really, truly did. And she even said, I know you don't use sequins a whole lot, but she wanted to share these because, she made them more manly for me. And so I love that. So I wanted to make sure that I got a few of these, and I mean a few, on my layout just to help me spread the circles. And that is it for today. Now the centers of the sequins will dry clear, so you won't see all of those tiny little white dots, even though they do look pretty cool. I'm still getting used to my pickup tool that is from Close to My Heart. I will put the link down below if I remember. But I'm still trying to get used to it because I've just always used my fingers to pick up sequins. But I do like the use of that tool. It is a very awesome tool. And when it starts to get dull, I just sharpen it and I will be able to have more of it. And they're very long. They're longer than an average pencil. So I really do like that. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly hope, I am truly grateful that you chose to spend your morning or evening or afternoon with me today. Also, too, don't forget to check out everyone else that is playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. And I will put the Facebook group down for Follow a Sketch February. Sandy will be posting every day in her Facebook group, and she has albums. She has an album for each of the sketches. All the sketches are up right now, so you can play along with whichever day you choose to. And then you just add your picture of your layout to the comment section of that particular sketch. And then everybody gets to see the variation and how you used this sketch, which I think is awesome. I love doing these. And seeing all the different ways to do the sketches. All right, you guys. Again, thank you so much, and I'll check y'all later. Bye.